Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and I just saw the Olympics. Today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. We're talking about skateboarding in the Olympics. Woo, boy, I could not believe seeing skateboarding in the Olympics. So I just watched some of the the street skateboard event in the Olympics, and I'll tell you, it is astounding seeing skateboarding in the Olympics. And I'll tell you why this links to Dungeons and Dragons, because a lot of things are like Dungeons and Dragons because they're the same age, right? So I'm pretty sure skateboarding came out in the 60s and blew up in the 70s. I think skateboarding was just a little bit in the 60s and then really blew up in the 70s, and may have actually just like started in the 70s. So the age of skateboarding is virtually identical to the age of Dungeons and Dragons, right? So what blew me away when I saw this in the Olympics was I was like, wait, what is happening here? Right? So they brought skateboarding into the Olympics, and it is very, very strange. I have never seen anything like it. Now, what's strange about skateboarding in the Olympics? Well, the Olympics are very like, let's celebrate this country, family friendly, like, all the content in an Olympics is supposed to be watched by families together for children, right? Skateboard punk. Like, skateboard is like straight punk, right? And it always has been, right? It's supposed to be like, in your face rebellion, right? Like it's barely a sport. It's more like a, and there's very much a like, get off my parking lot, you kids, right? Like even today, like, you will see stickers that say, skateboarding is not a crime, right? Boy, skateboarding in the Olympics is the most non-punk thing I have ever seen in my life. What really astounded me, though, was like, and you're like, wait, Scott, do you really think skateboarding isn't punk? They've been commercialized for decades, and they have. That's true, right? But it is very punk, right? Like, it is a culture that is aligned with things that are very non-family friendly, right? Just no two ways about it, right? And so, where does this link with D&D? Well, it is the commodification and the safety rails, and the gutter bumpers, right? Of being put of you used to be punk, and man, are you not punk now? Really, like, right? And that is D&D. Like D&D rolled out, and they're like, boom, Dungeons and Dragons, baby. 1974. Here's a dragon. Here's a fighter dude. They're gonna smash together, and people are like, what is this thing? And they're like, yeah, man, it's magic. It's Tolkien, but we roll random dice and we do all kinds of cool stuff. And then as soon as people figured out, like, they went straight into the satanic panic, right? It's hard to be more punk than that. Like, mom's rolling at you going, is your game putting demons in my child? Like, that's straight punk, right? Like D&D has always had an edge. That edge is very real, and it is very there, right? It's for realsies, right? Ain't no way about it. D&D had its punk years, right? But now, you can't go on Twitter and not find some dude saying, I'm starting my new Dungeons and Dragons game with my elementary students. And you're like, ugh, that is very non-punk. Like, that is the complete commodification and the complete safetyification of a very punk thing, right? And so the edge is off D&D, the punkosity is off D&D, it gone. And same thing with skateboarding, right? It was just so safetyified and commodified, and actually, skateboarding was able to bring one punk element into the Olympics, which I was shocked, right? They ain't no helmets. I was watching these dudes, like, they're careening off like 10, 15 feet in the air, and grinding off these rails. There ain't no helmets. I was like, what the heck? Where are the helmets, right? So, so skateboarding did remember its punk origins going into the Olympics, but I'll tell you right now, the punk is off the punk is off skateboarding. They done. They completely commodified. They ain't completely safetyified yet, but they are well on the way, right? And I will be shocked if there ain't no helmet. All it's going to take is one dude to crack their melon open, and they're going to be putting helmets on. Even I'm like, they should put some helmets on. So I just thought it was really interesting to see, two things that are essentially 5 decades old get the punk rubbed off them. And I will say it. I miss the punk days of D&D. I do. It's not terrible. There's some good things that have come with the safety and the commodification. I'm just glad I got to see the punk days. I really am, and I'm glad I got to see the punk days of skateboarding. But I'll tell you, ain't nobody should be pretending. Punk days are done for D&D. Punk days are done for skateboarding. It could be not hard to find anything less punk than either one of them now. That's my opinion. Love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.